Da da dee, da da dee. People, the story concerning VYBZ Kartel and the Privy Council and the DPP continues. Yeah man, the saga continues. And some startling discoveries were made today. And I that to come to talk about today. And one of the discovery them, or one of the things that were never really startling. And we're going to talk about that first. And then we're getting at the surprise part. Because, let me tell you something. Stay tuned and make sure you like the video and share the video. Because there's a lot of things that will be shared today. And you're going to want other people here. Zane, and over here, so we're going to have some sensible discourse with everything. Zane, some objective discourse. And we're going to look into everything. Zane, and I could deal with it now, man. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about today, Zane, and it's a story via Nationwide. It says, DPP to pursue retrial in the VYBZ Kartel case. Now, the Director of Public Prosecutions, PAULA LLEWELLYN, says her office will ask the Court of Appeal in order of a retrial for VYBZ Kartel and his co-accused. So, I could look on something there. So, you notice that the word now is co-accused. So, this is just to reaffirm what we talked about before. It's no longer co-convicts, co-accused. So, VYBZ Kartel is accused of something, which means he is not guilty as it relates to the convictions and they were overturned. Right here, so now it says she got ask. I could underline the words then, people. Ask. So this does not mean that there's an automatic retrial that is going to take place. She's going to ask. So there are going to be submissions. They are going to prepare documents and they are going to ask that this thing be retried.
I believe we would be obliged to, given the strength of the case for the prosecution that was put up, and given the authorities and the case law. I think that, as I reflect going forward to my retirement next year, I have been too successful in seeking to, and I'm happy about it, to sensitize the public, to sensitize the media, to try to explain a lot of complex issues. Very often, and I say this, when you have knowledge of the state of the law in any particular area, for example, retrial, the prosecutors are obliged to go on a particular path.
Now, today when this was announced, this was in no way shocking to me. As me they play a video earlier when Bert Samuels did attack him and say, more than likely, them are going to pursue the issue. So this is not shocking. You have to remember, people, this is a conviction that was overturned by the Privy Council, and the DPP not going to give up on it so easily. They feel as if they have enough evidence to reconvict VYBZ Kartel and the co-accused. So them not give up. So for those who are say them wicked and she this and she that, really and truly that does her job she do. Naturally, if she does give up on session or whatever, seeing people that say, you see it, on the sister on the wrong or whatever, so she go continue. This natural. This come like night or follow day. The natural for she a submit say them want the case to retry. What going to take place now is that they are going to, that a VYBZ Kartel lawyer and the other lawyers them are going to try to get bail for them client. The UK base court ruled that the local court of appeal should determine if a retrial should be held. So it's still in the hands of the Court of Appeal here in Jamaica if a retrial is needed or should be done. You see me? And the DPP says her office is guided by the law in making submissions before the Court of Appeal for the matter. So she within right. You get me?
The public has to be aware that the issue of retrial, as far as lawyers, well, let me say prosecutors and the judiciary are concerned, has nothing to do with emotion. It has nothing to do with who the accused is. It has to do with the seriousness of the offense, the public interest, how perhaps expensive it may be to mount the retrial. It doesn't even have to do with what the likely verdict may be, but it has to do with a number of factors which have been outlined in what we would call the locus classicus from the Privy Council in a case called Dennis Reed.
As I said before, no surprises here. The DPP doing her job, prosecution. She not make that one here escape. She want VYBZ Kartel and his co-accused to be put away for life. That is our objective. Me remember when she win the case, she said this is a victory for the justice system. Listen, this is the same lady where when the jury them contaminated at the word with them use, she saying, yeah, hear me? It can go through the same way. Not our constitution, put it through the same way. So, listen, she's about that life. She's about the prosecution and she's going to do it fully. Now, may I show the part of surprising now?
DPP, having been told that all of your jurors in 2014 had been offered a $500,000 bribe, why did you not advise the judge that it was probably best to dismiss the jury, which was now obviously tainted?
You see, you are now trying to get me to discuss the matter, and I told you that I didn't wish to.
No, but certainly this point, DPP, is important because here the law lords are saying you advised the judge that you were prepared to proceed even though you knew that the entire panel, 11 jurors, the forewoman told you, had been offered bribes. Wouldn't that mean in your judgment, DPP, that the entire jury, as the law lords have now found, was contaminated and should have been terminated or discharged?
Well, first of all, I am not the judge.
True, but you gave advice that you were prepared to proceed, and what I'm trying to understand.
We were prepared to proceed.
But why were you prepared to proceed with a jury that was contaminated?
No. All the other factors, that some of which I cannot go into in terms of.
So you were thinking about cost. You were thinking about how long the matter had been going.
We were also thinking of security issues. There were a lot of other issues that we cannot go into the public domain, and what our information from the foreman was, what she was saying, was that all of the attempts had to do with acquittal. Clearly, if it had been the other way, we would have, clearly, given the overriding objective of any case, which is fairness to the accused. But what would have been perhaps planted in the mind of the jurors is, okay, you need to acquit. And remember that these persons, at least two of them, are very famous. So it would have been, as far as the prosecution, when we discussed it, we would have been at those ones at a great disadvantage. This is not the first time.
But with the greatest respect, DPP, that's not persuasive, because what I want you to focus on is the fact that the process now had been corrupted.
All right, let me add my 2 cents here. So it is clear from this discourse that the DPP, I make you hear the rest, that the DPP does not consider that the jury is contaminated or corrupted when a bribery take place. That is clear. Me don't even ask her that question directly. In the DPP mind, because you forward and tell them, say, yo, you have to return or not guilty, and because them come forward and tell me, that means, say, them fear. The DPP have sense, people. Them are a liar, them have sense. If people come to you and tell you, say, them man, they are bribe, them boy, they are trying for bribe, or them people are trying for bribe, it obvious, say, them they more in favor of you than them. If the bribe did receive, if the bribe did take, you won't hear about it. And if the bribe did take, you'd have returned and not guilty, and you wouldn't know. Because the bribe was successful. The fact that the bribe was reported means that they are not in favor of the bribe or what the bribe is saying. One could have deduced that. Now the next thing is, she has said, if the bribe was in favor of guilty, then would have definitely stop it and think. Let me tell you something. Them people have sense. You see, when you come and you bribe, the other people are naturally against what you say. And as what the judge said, them are going to overcompensate. It's a natural human thing. Them are go against you and what you bribe me for do. She made an important statement first when she said it is the trial judge that has the final say and not a fax. And people need to put that in at the puzzle too. Lennox Campbell had the final say and the final decision, even though he was advised by a very experienced DPP on what to do. But she had do it based on her experience, because as she go on for tell me, I know the first she had do this. This shocking.
Contaminated, and you advised the judge that you were comfortable proceeding with a contaminated and corrupt process.
This is not the first time that I have had to deal with jury tampering.
And be that as it may, in the exercise of your judgment, why did you not see it fit to bring to an end a matter that had been corrupted?
After 64 days of trial?
Isn't the interest of protecting the impartial trial greater than the length of time that had elapsed?
I agree with you on paper, but I have done other cases where there has been jury tampering to the great negative of the prosecution. I have seen cases, I've seen jury inquiries where the juror, having been questioned, it was quite clear that it was either an accused person or an accused person's relative that approached the juror. And the juror was able to indicate to the court that it did not make any difference. He would still be able to have an impartial situation in his mind. I have had the experience. I've prosecuted many cases. And when asked, I have indicated that we don't have any problem. So in other words, we are prepared to take our chances and just try to make sure that you have a very powerful address. But this, what happened in a couple of the cases I've dealt with, didn't happen during summation. It happened before we got to summation. So I have had the experience before of jury tampering. And I have been asked before, what is my view, being the prosecutor in the matter? And even after the inquiry, it's a judgment. It's quite clear that you don't know if the juror is telling you everything about the encounter with the relative of the accused, but you are willing to take the chance nonetheless. So it has happened. I mean, both myself and Mr. Taylor, who was the prosecutor, we didn't drop from the sky. It's not the first case that we are both having to deal with. And in our experience, we have had to deal with cases where you have issues arising.
With the benefit of hindsight, do you regret the submissions you made?
You are not going to get me there. You are not going to get me.
People, the DPP in the hot seat. The court of public opinion have the DPP right now upon the hot seat. And right now the conversation, by her own admission, is that she has dealt with jury tampering before, as where the Privy Council call it, corrupt, contaminated jurors before, and she make it go through because she say it more I go against she. People, may I go be honest with you. Lawyers, smart people, more than likely it not go against her. You see, from the juror come to you and tell them, say, me get bribe, more than likely the juror they in favor of you. The juror they already assure you, say, them more in favor of the prosecution. When me say so, I don't mean in favor of the prosecutor, but in other words, if they wanted to go with the bribe, them could have go with it, and you don't know. So the fact for say them come forward and say so, that mean them against the bribe, and them probably figure say the person where I try get off a case I try bribe me, and I don't think them are gonna look on the person that in the same light. That is just my humble opinion. The person where I try for bribe you go wonder and say, wonder if I true you know say you really do it, make you bribe me, or make you send your friend come bribe me. That is just what I think. And I think the prosecution have that in mind and say, all right, go ahead. It's a gamble they are willing to take because it's a gamble they know they can win, and she has done it several times before. So a gamble like this, when it revealed to she said that go on, She said, boy, this more likely are going in my favor. And if that client can go privy council, like what you see VYBZ Kartel do, then them goose cook. Yeah, probably curry too. Nah, nothing else to say now. I know what you have to think. I'm out.